Hello, my crafty friends. Well, I found a find that I think is going to be a really cool thing at Tuesday morning. So this is kind of a review of what I think about it after I open it up and try to use it. But I've been looking for a little sample kind of loom that I can sample warp threads and weft threads together and stuff like that for quite a while. But they always cost more than I want to spend, and they also have lots of times the tines are far enough apart. Just a second, let me see if I can get this out. That it's hard to know, something kind of fine whether it's going to work or not. So here's the instructions. Oh, well, I like this. They've got them in 4 languages, but they're individual, so you only have to get out the one that's your language. I like that. That's much easier to work with than having a huge piece because it's in 4 languages. That was smart. Okay. Let me tell you what it is here. It's Clover Mini Weaving Loom. Double. The double part is because you can make it double width. So that's interesting. Okay. So I'm going to put those extra instructions aside, and let's see what we've got here. I don't need that for this project. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, this literally is double. They've got all the things to use it this size twice. So you could, if you had 2 kids you wanted to teach to weave, you could get one of these for $5 and have, each one of them could have their own little separate one to work with. That's really pretty amazing. I didn't expect that. I knew that you could add it together to make a wider piece, like, let's see, like that. Let's just go ahead and see what that would look like if you put it together. Okay, you've got a shuttle and a weaving needle and a comb. And another kind of shuttle. Oh, I thought one of these was missing. I was like, okay, I know there's supposed to be 2 of those. And you just slide that on there. Let's go ahead and get this out so we can see all the same things again. That's interesting. I don't know what that piece is. Let's see if it tells us what that is, because oh, this is the shed stick. Duh. I'm not sure what that's for. That's confusing to me. Oh, okay. See, you just got to think. If you're doing it double, then you put them together. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But I think that's this way. No, that is what it says. Insert this in here. Yeah, I'm not sure what I think about that. That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's like this. Oh, there we go. That's that makes more sense. So you put them together, and then you have a double wide shed stick. So that's good. Okay. I probably should have opened this and played with it a little bit, but I was too excited. I just wanted to go ahead and open it with y'all. Okay. So you've got this. So you can make one that's this big. And on the box it says that that one piece makes a 4 3/4 inch square, and the two together make a 9 3/4 inch long, 4 3/4 inch piece rectangle. And there's the difference. This would make a really cute little cover for a journal. I think that would be fun. That's the only thing I can think of that I would do with it at this size. I could think of some other things. I don't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and put one of these up because okay. Is that right? Yeah. Because we're just going to do one. We're just going to play with one half of it today. I've found things like this size, but the tines were further apart. They were wider, and so you didn't have it. You couldn't make as tight a weave on it, and that was really what excited me. But this much, I found those for like $20, and so I never did buy one. But to get double that, that's actually pretty cool. And to be able to put them together to make something wider is neat too. But I like the idea that you can sample two different kinds of yarn with like make them and use the same weft and try different warp yarns, or use two different weft yarns and try the same warp yarns. So whatever you want to do. So there are definitely good ways to use it when it's double. Okay, I'm trying to see. It says how to set up. Oh, over here. I was on the wrong side. For the warp, a sturdy straight yarn that glides nicely is adequate. Do not use joined yarn. So use one solid piece is basically what it's saying. Okay, so it says to secure it to the loom, and I'm not sure how they were going to have you do that, but this looks like an easy way to me. Then you can tie it off later. Pull the yarn from the back of the loom to the lower groove and wind it up to the upper groove. Okay. It says following the direction of the arrows. And must be arrows in their instructions because there are no arrows on here. Anyway, you just go like that, and then there are two ways to do it. If you want a fringe, you can go around like this. And warping it's that easy. The key to warping is to make sure things stay pretty evenly tensioned. And then you'll cut here for your fringe. And I don't care about a fringe right now, so we're just going to do it this way, where you go up and then you take it around the tine and go down here and go around and up here and go around and down here, and you're just going back and forth. And make sure that when you're doing this, you only have one thread in each spot. And that'll keep everything lined up straight. Oops, and don't skip any. And you just want to kind of keep it and keep it fairly tight. So you need to hold it in place as you move. You know, keep the pressure. Sometimes when you find things at Tuesday Morning, they're an okay price, you know, but it doesn't seem like a really great bargain. But this is a really great bargain, I think. All right, come on. And let's go ahead and cut that off. And I'm going to hold it tight here and run this through here to tie it off, because it will be much easier to deal with later if it's and I'm going to go underneath here, so that will kind of hold it. And then I'm going to push this through there. You can tie it off however you want. I'm just trying to find a way to make it tie securely when I only have one loose thread. Okay. So there's that. And I'm going to use this for my warp yarn just because I think it'll be pretty with it, but it's different, so you can see it pretty easy how it works up. Let me also zoom in a little bit here. Okay, let's go this way. No, that's the wrong. There we go. That way I can get to it easier too. Okay, this is your shuttle. And what you do is make a slip knot. Let me show you that again, because I was out of the deal. You just wrap it around your finger and then pull it up through that. That makes a slip knot, and that'll hold it in place. And then I just hold when I'm filling my shuttle. I just hold this like that, and you go down and up. And if you feel it from the sides instead of around the middle, you can get more yarn on there without making it as fat. And then you come over and fill this side. And you may have to fill your shuttle a few times. And once you've done that, you can actually go around the middle some too, so you have a little bit more, get a little extra length on there. I'm lazy. I don't like to fill shuttles any more often than I have to. So that's the fill this side, then the middle, and that's the most, as far as I can see, the most compact way to fill a shuttle. Okay. And then we've got our shed stick. And all you do with it, it's real easy. You just pick up every other one, the even threads. So you're going over the odd threads and under the even threads. Okay. So when you're weaving here, you're gonna pick up at one point. You're gonna pick up the shed stick and stand it up like this, and that'll give you space to just thread this through. And leave a long tail on it. Don't try to be. And then you can take it down and kind of push it against like this, and that'll kind of pack it in. And then to go back the other direction. So you have to remember, if the shed sticks up, you're going from one side. If it's down, you're going from the other side. So from this side, I'm going to pick up the threads that are down. And it's not that hard. You just have to okay, come on. And then over and under. And you may have to do you know, a few at a time. And then we're going to go pick up that one and pick up that one. So you're picking up the ones that are down low. And bringing your your shuttle through. And then you're going to do the same thing again. Let's let that be enough. I think with the yarn I'm doing on here, I think 3 is about as good as I can do. If you had a slicker yarn, you could probably run it through all the way across easier. I expected to be able to run it all the way across, but I couldn't with the yarns I'm using, because I'm using a furry yarn for my weft. This is the weft, and it's furry. And then I'm using a kind of a bumpy yarn for my warp. So those two things together make it a little harder to get through. So I should have chosen easy yarns, then you would see how easy it can be. Okay, then you're going to hold this right here and pull that kind of snug. But you want to leave a V there, and that's where you have room to make the things go up and down. And then you just push it. And you can push it with this. That's what I do. But you could also use this and just go. And with these yarns, this actually might be easier to do. And pack it down. And then raise that again. And go back underneath. And on this side, now we have to kind of pay attention here. You want it snug, but not pulling. And leave your, put your shed down and then pack it in. See, if you do that, it really does. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing again that we did a while ago. We're going to pick up the underneath threads. Let's just do a couple at a time. I think ultimately it'll be faster to do that, even if you have to make more passes, because it goes through easier. And if you don't want to mess with this, you could just use the needle. But you can't have, it's hard to have as much yarn on the needle, so you have to have a lot more joins in your fabric if you use the needle. And then we're going to watch it right here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this, because I think that kind of clears your shed anyway. And we raise this and slide it underneath the whole thing. If you've been wanting to learn to do some weaving, I really think this is a good place to start, because it's a pretty sturdy little loom and it's pretty easy to use. But start with some acrylic yarn or something that's slicker than what I'm using here. Oh, I forgot. See, I'm packing it as I go, and you can do that if you want to, but when you're weaving on a bigger loom, you can't pack it as, you don't typically pack it as you go, and so it's better to practice at the beginning doing it a way that you could do it on something else. Once you've got it there, then I just take this shed stick and go ahead, and if this was a rigid heddle loom, this would be your reed or your heddle. If it was like my floor loom, it would be the reed that's packing it. And that I think that works really well. It's pretty, that way you pack everything evenly because you're using the same amount of force each time. When you're doing this, you tend to pack things a little less evenly, but you can pack it just like this. And there are times you might want to use this every once in a while, even if you're using this normally, because you do want to pack it fairly tight. Now, if you look at this, you can see that you don't really see my my warp threads at all in this. Sorry, you don't really see the warp threads at all in the part that I've been weaving. And part of that's because this is bigger because it's 2 strands. So it's not an even, the weft and the warp are not even. If you have 2 yarns that are exactly the same, that's probably what I should have showed you. If you have 2 acrylic yarns that are the same size, then you will see the weaving, the checkerboard kind of look down here. But because my weft and warp are not the same, my weft is just overriding the warp and completely covering it up. But I just grabbed what was easy to find, and these 2 were sitting right here, so that's why I'm using them. And you're just doing the same thing over and over and over. And the instructions, will tell you what to do. I don't know, if you're not a weaver, they might not be as clear as I would like for them to be, but I don't think they're really difficult. I don't have time today to actually finish the whole thing and then show you how to take it off, but the instructions are there. And I've got to go to a guild meeting tonight, and I'm going to take this and show them at the meeting, because at my Tuesday morning store there were still about 6 left after I bought what I bought. So some of them might want to go get them, so I want to take it tonight. It just happens to be that it's the night of our weaving guild meeting. Anyway, I think it's looking pretty, even if you don't really see this. Oops. I just thought of something I might do. I'm going to just cut that off. And I'm going to get out that other one, the other shuttle. It is nice that there are two shuttles in here, so you can have more than one kind of weft thread going at a time. And I'm going to put some of this on this shuttle, and I'm going to show you this will be more balanced, but the colors, I don't know if it'll be any easier to see. The only reason I didn't do this to begin with is because this is a dark color and I didn't know how much it would show up. But we can just make this, have stripes. That's okay. It's just kind of for me to learn how to learn the loom anyway. It's not like I have a specific plan for it. But let me show you about loading this. You go under one side, and when you come over it, then you go under this side. And then you go under that side, and then under this side. So you're making a figure 8. And after you've done some of that on both sides, then you can wrap straight around the middle. And that doesn't add any bulk to your shuttle, but it gives you a little bit extra length. Okay. I'm gonna pull this back through a few. And when you take it off here and you wash it, then you can trim this after it's shrunk up some. Okay. And now then I'm going to just go ahead and put this right on top of it. So these few threads right here and these few threads will be overlapping. And I'm going to stick that in and pull it back out. Okay, now we're going to do this one. And remember, we're going under the bottom threads when we don't use this stick, and we're going when we open the shed stick, then we go under the top threads. And it's pretty easy to find these because, for one thing, they're not packed really, really close together. Whoops. And for another thing, the shed stick holds the bottom ones down, so they're easy to find. On some little looms, you don't have a shed stick, and so you're just going in and out every time, both directions. And that makes it a little bit harder to, a little bit harder to see if you've messed up. It's pretty easy to see if you've skipped something when you're doing this, but okay. And then we're just going to pack this. And that doesn't want to pack because it's nubby, just like the warp is nubby and the weft is nubby. Neither one of them are slick when you do it with this yarn. So we're just gonna use the little comb. That's what it's there for. So we're not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna use it. And then we'll make sure that's kind of snug, and then pull it down. We're going to do the same thing again. Anyway, I just wanted to show you in case you're interested in one of these, and if you have a Tuesday morning close by, you can run and check. For $5, this is a pretty good deal, I think. If you wanted to learn how to weave, and you would, I mean, this is a perfect size to make mug rugs to give to people. And so uh-oh, see, that got caught. You got to watch that. Where's my comb? There we go. Okay, so you can see how it's changing. It looks different depending on what you're doing. And this yarn is kind of thin. A thicker yarn would make a more balanced weave too, because there wouldn't be as much space between the warp yarns. And if you've got a lot of space between your warp yarns, then it's really easy to cover them up as well. So, so I would start out with an acrylic yarn, a regular worsted weight acrylic yarn, and then see what, knitting yarn, see what you think about that before you try fancy yarns, unless fancy yarns is what you've got. And then you can do it if you'll just have to know that it packs like this, and your warp yarn pretty much disappears. And if all you have is one pretty yarn and something like this, then you can use this for your warp yarn, and it's pretty much going to be hidden by whatever pretty yarn you have. So that's something to think of too, if you want to conserve your fancy yarn and just have something that is sturdy for your warp yarn. And you do want something fairly sturdy for your warp yarn, because that it's going to be taking a lot of abuse as you're going up and under it and lifting it and pulling stuff through it and all of that. One thing they tell you is that when you get, you're packing it against this side, but eventually you're going to get to the place where it is too tight to use your shed stick. Like when you get up here, okay, your shed stick's just, after about this point, your shed stick's just kind of in the way. It's not really helping you at all, because you can't lift it up anymore and make a shed. See, this is the shed right there. This is the shed in a loom. No matter how it's lifted, if it's by a stick or by a reed or by a heddle, this part under here is called your shed. And when you get about this far in, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. And that's why then they give you this needle. So then you can use the needle and you just do it back and forth every other one at that point. So, and then you just do it and you keep packing it till it's as tight as you can get it with your little comb. See, if you take that off and then you pack it as close as you can to this. And when you can't get this needle through there anymore, see, you can go really close with it. But when you can't do that anymore, then you need to tie off your yarn, and then you pull these off. All you have to do is pull them off. And when you pull these off, they automatically, because you were going over and under, they automatically just kind of boom, right into your piece, and they make an edge. So these two edges are good. Then all you have to do is tie off your ending string and your beginning string. See, at this point, these two are just keeping the warp in place. But once you pull it off, those strings will be extra, just like these are extra. So I hope this makes sense. And if you're interested in one of these looms and you don't have a Tuesday morning or whatever, I bought an extra one, and I'm going to give it away, but only to the people who watched this point in the video. So if you want one, in the comments below, say, what an awesome little loom, or something about an awesome little loom. You don't have to, you just say awesome little loom, and that's good enough for me to know you want to be entered to win one. And I'll give it probably a few days. Let's just say a week from today, next Wednesday. I will put everybody that's in the comments that said awesome little loom, I'll put them in a drawing, and I'll pick somebody to win it. Now, you do need to be a subscriber, so if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And be sure to comment, like the video. You can share the video with people. Say, look at this video, but don't tell them it's a giveaway, okay? They need to watch the video if they want to win. All right. God bless you. Bye-bye.